is suing music producers Terrence Ireland and Jason Pittman for the return of her music and sexual harassment. Terrence and Jason claim the music is theirs to keep.
Yes, case number 198 on the calendar in the matter of Johnson versus Ireland Pittman. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat, please.
Which one is Ireland? Good, so I know where we are. Ms. Johnson, it is your claim that you paid the defendants to produce a music demo for you.
That is correct.
And you paid them, and they didn't deliver what was promised. Now, I don't quite understand all of the technical stuff that you put in here. But Mr. Ireland and Mr. Pittman say that you never fully paid, that you don't get some sort of a master tape. This is going to get very complicated. And since you didn't fully pay them, you got everything that you're entitled to. Is that close enough?
That's very close.
So, how did you find them, and what was this contract that you entered into?
I worked with Terrence Ireland at a group home as a teacher's assistant, and he listened to my demo that
So you had a demo?
Yes, I had a demo with another producer. And Terrence let me know that he also was a producer and that I should let him listen to my music. He then listened to it and said that he would like to work with me. He invited me down to his studio to meet his cousin Jason in hopes that we would be able to work together.
Go ahead.
As of right now, I am the copyright owner and the author of the lyrics and the melody to the 5 songs that I created with the defendants from November 2003 up until May of 2004. Now, there is no written contract, only a verbal agreement which states a work-for-hire situation in which I pay a flat fee of $500 per song to the defendants and also have the use of their studio and their musical backings. They have no claim to copyright, they have no claim to royalties, and they have no claim to my master. Now,
How do I know that?
Say again?
How do I know that?
Because I created the songs. I also have the copyright material.
Why don't you have a contract?
He told me that I did not need a contract, that all I would need to do is give him $250 up front and $250 in the end for the songs.
Doesn't sound very professional to me, Miss Johnson.
No, which is why I'm no longer wanting their services. That is correct. They raised the price of the 6th song, which I started creating. This here is a musical director of the Grammys and of the Turtles. He also listened to my demo and told me also that it is an unfinished project. And in order for me to finish my project with another producer, they would need my digital formatted copy or master of my music in order to help me. If you'd like to...
Are you following all of this?
Sure.
Why don't you explain it to me?
Okay. She paid them to produce her stuff. They have her master.
Right.
This guy here is telling her that she needs the digital master in order for another producer to help finish out her demo.
How much did you pay them all together?
I paid them $2,500 for the 5 songs.
You have proof that you paid them $2,500?
I have proof for the 3 songs that I created. They're holding the other 2 receipts.
What'd you pay them in cash?
Yes, that is correct.
How much did she pay you?
She paid us all together. Let's see here. 500, 1,000, 1,500. Let's see. 17, 18, 19. $1,900, Your Honor. Sorry, I didn't have it all added up, but I do have all the receipts.
He says you pay him $1,900.
That is incorrect.
Show me proof that you paid him $25.
I don't have proof. They're keeping the other 2 receipts.
Well, how am I supposed to tell? He says you gave him $1,900.
Well, I have a disc of the 5 songs that I created with all 5 songs on them. They would not hand these songs over to me unless I had paid for the songs in which I created.
Well, what is it that you want from them? A master?
I want the master, the digital file that they hold in their possession, and also funds to finish my project. My project is not mixed nor mastered.
So you want them to give you what they got so far, plus give you more money?
Plus give me the money in order to finish. I also have to do that.
I gotta do that.
I have to finish.
Well, right now,
the project is incomplete. On
then
May
find
24th,
somebody to complete it.
Well, on May 24th, Jason sexually harassed me and told me that he works for music and that he could get me a deal if only I slept with him.
That was a very nasty thing for him to say. If you said that, that was a very nasty thing for you to say. Let's move on.
I have the 5 songs in which I created. They're withholding the other 2 receipts from me for sexual favors.
Now I don't get it.
What?
Now I don't get it.
I didn't get it either. Still don't get it. I want to get beyond this sexual harassment business that you tacked on to this. You want your master.
I want my master, and I want the funds that I need in order to finish the project.
They're not going to pay you that, Miss Johnson.
Well, that's why I'm here.
Good. Well, that's not going to listen to me. That's not going to happen. Okay, Mr. Pittman, listen to me very carefully, sir. These are her songs, correct?
No.
They're not her lyrics?
No.
They're not her music?
No.
Whose are they?
Ours.
You're telling me that you wrote the music?
Exactly.
Really?
Right.
Who wrote the lyrics?
I did. And Terry did. She actually went out and copywrote the music
Behind our back.
behind our backs.
Without our consent.
You don't know anything about that, right, sir?
No.
Because she says she wrote the music. They say they wrote the music.
She wrote the lyric and the melody for the songs.
How do you know?
She told me.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Johnson claims music producers Terrence Ireland and Jason Pittman owe for the return of her music and for sexual harassment.
Now, you don't know who wrote the music. She says she wrote the music. They say they wrote the music.
May I say something, please, about that?
Sure.
There's two elements to a song. The lyric and the melody is the copyrightable item.
Yes.
You cannot copyright an arrangement.
No, I understand that.
Okay, so
that I understand.
She claims to me
that
and
she
I believe
wrote.
her,
That,
the lyric
I don't
and the
care what you
melody.
believe. What you believe
Okay.
is irrelevant to
Okay.
me. She said to you, I wrote the lyrics and the melody.
Yes.
He says that he wrote the
Lyric
lyrics.
and melody. Okay.
I want to see the sheet music when it was written. Let me see. Don't you have that? Somebody have that?
I have the copy written with the Library of Congress that I submitted.
When?
On March of this year, 2004.
Well, when did you record it?
I recorded it from November of
Well, then what
2003.
difference does it make if you sent to the Library of Congress something after you made the recordings?
Because I was determined that I was finished working with him.
Listen to me. If you write something, and if you know, Ms. Johnson, that what you can do in order to solidify your position as the author of a piece of music, that you copyright it and you sent it to the Library of Congress, why didn't you send it before you recorded it?
Because when the defendants had the beats, I then wrote the music to the beats, so I didn't have the words when I came to the studio.
Just a second. When you say that they wrote the beats is a melody.
No, the
listen.
guitar and the instruments. I wrote the way the song was supposed to be arranged.
Nobody is ever going to be able to tell what happened here because the three of you, semi-professionals, don't have a contract. And I'm not going to be able to tell who came in with the music and who didn't. You copyrighted something, but you copywrote it after you recorded it. So if you write the words to music and you want to copyright the words that you wrote to music, you copyright them by sending them into the Library of Congress.
Which is what I did.
You did it after you recorded them.
Well, I was still recording. This shows in March. This date here shows the March
Listen to
of
me, you said you
2004.
started in November.
I started with them in November. That
Right,
is
you
correct.
started with them in November.
Right.
Ms. Johnson.
And it took about a month and a half to finish a song.
I cannot tell who wrote this music.
Well, I'm the only one that has the copywritten information.
And I'm telling you that was a bit of slick maneuvering because you already had recorded them. You already in March decided not to work with them anymore. So you said, bet you they didn't copyright it. So you sent in your copyright to the Library of Congress. And I'm telling you, if you were operating in good faith, you would have done it before since you knew how to do it.
Amen.
Listen, when somebody wants to copyright an idea, they don't copyright the idea after they've already let it out of the bag. They do it beforehand.
Well, Andy Kahn heard my music, and he told me also that my project was not finished. But after the
Ms.
fifth
Johnson,
song...
I can't help you, my dear. Can't help you. Case is dismissed. That's what you have. You have 2 demos.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Stevens versus Stokes, step forward, please.
Bus driver Joseph Stevens is suing his ex-girlfriend, 25-year-old service representative Ginger Stokes, for the return of child support.
According to your complaint, you and Miss Stokes had a relationship. I don't know what kind of relationship, and Miss Stokes became pregnant. She took you to court for child support because at that time you were no longer in a relationship. You began paying child support for this child, a boy or a girl?
Boy.
And then you discovered that the child was not yours.
Yes, ma'am.
Biologically. So you want the support payments back that you gave to the defendant.
Yes.
Mr. Stevens, when were you and Miss Stokes in a relationship?
Around December 2000.
Until when?
About April, June, between 2002.
2002 or 2001?
2001, I'm sorry.
During that time, did you live together?
Well, at that time, she was having problems at her house. So she asked, can she come stay with me? And she came and stayed with me for a little while.
What's a little while?
It was no more than like 2-3 months.
Okay. When did she tell you she was pregnant?
She told me she was pregnant around about April.
What did she tell you?
She came up and told me that she was pregnant, and I told her that, how could you be pregnant when, we've been using, protection? And then...
Who was using the protection?
I was.
Did you see her during her pregnancy?
No.
Did she call you when the baby was born?
Yes, she had called my mother's house. She had called me at the time that she was in the hospital and kept telling my mom for me to come up there to see the baby.
Did you go up to see the baby?
No, ma'am.
Why not, Mr. Stevens?
Because I felt as though that the baby, wasn't mine, and I just didn't want to go up there.
Did there come a time when you went to see the baby?
No.
Did there come a time that you were notified that they were taking some money from your paycheck?
No, the only time I found out is whenever I got a letter from her going down to the courthouse. When
did you go down to seek child support?
The beginning of 2003.
How old was the baby?
He was 6-7 months.
Is there any reason you waited to seek child support until the baby was 6 or 7 months old?
Yes. He at one point did come and we were talking on the phone and said that he would like us to be together, that he wanted us, the three of us, to be together, that he felt that that was his child. At the time, I had finally met somebody else and I didn't want to be with him. And after that, he wasn't coming around, he wasn't doing anything. I needed to go for child support.
Now, Ms. Stokes, how much money did you receive from Mr. Stevens after the court fixed a child support order?
A little over $800.
Is that right, Mr. Stevens?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, Mr. Stevens, I'd like you to tell me how ultimately this mystery was unraveled and you determined that this child was not yours.
Well, the job that me and her used to work at, there was people there telling me that, she was up there saying that the baby wasn't mine.
So you heard from sources that this child might not be yours, but you already knew that, Mr. Stevens.
Yes,
I mean, you already knew, based upon your use of protection, that there was at least a possibility that this child wasn't yours, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, there was already a child support order in place, Mr. Stevens, is that right?
Yes.
Now, as an old family court practitioner, I know that you were served with a notice to appear in the family court on the issue of paternity, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And you didn't go,
yes.
Right?
Yes.
Why not?
Well, at the time, I was having a problem with my other 3 kids. And by that time, I was practically scared to go to the court.
You were scared to go to the court because?
I figured that I might have had a warrant or something like that.
Because you weren't paying child support?
Yes, at that time, because I wasn't working that much.
I'm glad you added that much. If you're going to make all these babies, Mr. Stevens, then you better get a lot of jobs.
Yes, ma'am.
Not work part-time. If you work part-time, you got all this energy. So you decided to blow off court, and they issued a default judgment against you, declared you to be the father. If you had gone to court immediately and said, listen, I want a blood test, they would have taken a blood test and they would have said, you're off the hook on this one.
But at that time, when I wanted to get a paternity test, I even talked to her about it. She kept telling me that they's not going to be able to do it, and you might have to pay for it out of your pocket.
Better off paying for it out of your pocket, sir, a couple of $100 than pay for the 21 years, right?
Yes.
You can't be short-sighted. You don't have any children together?
No.
Do you have children?
Yes, I do.
How many children do you have?
3.
So between you have 6 children?
Yes, ma'am.
Is that enough?
Oh.
Plenty.
Plenty, right? Plenty. 6 children. Now you're working full-time?
Yes.
See, that's good. What kind of work do you do?
School bus driver.
Well, you must like children. Okay. How much do they take out of your pay, Mr. Stevens?
$842 altogether.
$842?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Miss Stokes, did we finally come up with a daddy for your baby?
Yes.
Is there a paternity proceeding pending, or has one been
No.
finalized?
No.
Why not?
So I have no idea where he is, and I don't want to pursue it because he's my son and he's my world, and I'm going to take care of him regardless.
Okay. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $842. Thank you.
Why does that excuse you? They stepped out.
I'm very happy that the judge gave me back my money.
I'm just glad it's over.
If he was mine, I just wish that I would have been there for him.
It's been a struggle trying to take care of what I need to take care of.
I don't have no grudge against Miss Stokes.
I'm going to take care of him.
Parties in the matter of Terry versus Barnes. Step forward, please.
General contractor Stephen Terry is suing his neighbor, 24-year-old restaurant manager Roger Barnes, for throwing a rock through the front window of his house. Roger says Stephen's brother was antagonizing him.
Mr. Terry, Mr. Barnes is your neighbor. It's your claim that on a particular date, which you'll tell me in a moment, he came to your house, he was drunk, he took a rock, he threw it through your window, you want him to pay for the window. Mr. Barnes says it wasn't a rock that broke your window, it was his jacket that broke your window and its heavy buttons, so he's not paying for your window, right?
Right.
What date did he break your window?
It was St. Patrick's Day this year.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Are you Irish?
Nope.
But you celebrate with the Irish?
Yeah.
Were you celebrating on St. Patrick's Day?
Yes.
Were you a little drunk?
A little bit.
Okay, so your jacket broke the window?
Yeah.
No, not yeah. Yes was good. Yes was good before. Yes, so you should stick to yes.
Yes.
Tell me how it came about that your jacket broke the window.
Well, actually, I was at my house with my brother here. He's a witness.
Just get to the window, will you please?
All right, well, we got an argument.
I'm interested in the jacket. How the jacket, which was on your body initially, left your body, according to you, caused the breaking of Mr. Terry's window.
Well, I was outside, and we were in a big argument. And
Who was in an argument?
His brother and this guy named Eric. And basically, I thought I was going to have to defend myself against these two guys, and I ripped it off and flung it to the side, and as I did, it broke their window.
Well, show me how high the window was, sir.
It's about, at the bottom of the window.
Well, when you say you flung your jacket, you indicated you flung the jacket to the ground.
Like this. Over that way.
Now, show me how you do that, sir. Show me how you get up high enough to hit the window.
Yeah,
Don't hit Mr. Terry again.
Sorry. You could feel it. It's a pretty heavy jacket.
So it was the jacket that broke the window. Yeah. So it's not your fault.
Well, if they wouldn't have been antagonizing me outside, it would have never happened. I was trying to leave and go back to my house. You know, we were in a big argument.
Let me ask you this question. Was Mr. Terry there?
Mr. Terry was there, but he
was he
in the
antagonizing
house.
you?
No, Stephen wasn't.
And who has to pay for his window?
Well, I don't think I should.
Well, who should be? Bird should pay for his window?
No.
Maybe I should pay for his window.
No.
Maybe this camera person should pay for his window.
No.
What do you think? No? Who should pay for his window?
If they weren't antagonizing the situation...
I'm asking you who should pay for the window.
I think they should pay for it.
Who's they?
Stephen and Ryan.
But he wasn't responsible in any way, sir.
I know.
It's not his jacket. Did you get beat up that day?
Nope.
So maybe you were wrong about them trying to antagonize you. You think it's possible that the libation that you consumed on St. Patrick's Day impaired your judgment? Is that a possibility, Mr. Barnes?
Well, they just set me off.
Is that a possibility that the libation that you consumed on St. Patrick's Day impaired your judgment, sir?
Probably had a little bit to do with it, but not much.
All right. I'm not going to torture you much more, sir. This is my daily exercise. It's my breathing exercise for the day. You understand that? Do you think that the fact that you were drinking had more to do with the fact that the window got broken than Mr. Terry?
Well, I mean, if his brother wasn't outside...
Not his brother.
Okay.
He's not right. I'm not my brother's keeper. I'm talking about Mr. Terry.
Okay, no.
So that your drinking had more to do with the window than Mr. Terry's...
Than Stephen did, yeah.
So this is what I suggest you do, sir. How much was the window?
I have the bill for everything. I'm a contractor. I fixed it myself. So
good. How much was it?
$500.
What?
It's an old window. It broke both the panes, and they're old windows.
You're only suing for $325, sir, so don't tell me that you paid $500 to have the window fixed.
I didn't pay for it. That's how much I would charge to do it myself, but that's okay.
How much did you pay for it?
It's for the glass and the materials.
Yeah.
$100.
$100. And you are a contractor, so you bill for your time. Is that right? And how much do you get paid for an hour?
$55.
55 an hour. How many hours did it take you?
7.
Suing for $325. That's very reasonable for a window. Now, this is what I'm going to tell you, Mr. Barnes. I want you to listen to me very carefully, because you're not clouded by libation now, are you? If you believe that it's somebody else's fault that your jacket that was on your back broke Mr. Terry's window, I suggest that after you pay Mr. Terry $325, you sue those people that you think are responsible. Is that fair?
Sounds fair to me.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $325. Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Oh, I thought it was short and sweet.
It's totally unfair. They didn't hear my side of the story at all.
I gave him plenty of opportunity to take care of it himself, and he failed to do so.
I screamed at him, "Get out of my house."
Basically, I was trying to leave the house.
Things started getting out of control.
I ripped my jacket off, flung it to the side, broke their window. It was cheap, old.
I was out on the porch. He was drinking several beers.
I just lost it.
Words being slurred in such a manner, and stumbling and inexplicable violence.
They made some smart remarks about my dead father, which set me off in the first place.
He has a tendency to get a little bit violent when he drinks.
I just think he was pretty much didn't know what he was doing. Had that to the point of blacking out.
Booze and that stuff really doesn't mix.
Suing her ex-boyfriend, Lorenzo Jordan, for a dental bill and travel costs.
Court come to order. All rise.
Be seated, please.
Hello, Judge. We have case number 1023, Parr versus Jordan.
Thank you. Ms. Parr, Mr. Jordan is your former boyfriend, and you claim over the course of the relationship a series of loans. Mr. Jordan has a cross-complaint, and his cross-complaint is for a serious assault that he claims he was the victim of at your hand. According to what I've read, you met the defendant in 2019 online. Is that right?
That is not
What
correct.
year?
We met in January of 2019 in a restaurant when he was working for a micro wrestling team.
Okay, were you a customer at that restaurant?
I was an employee.
And he?
He was an assigned vendor, I guess, that they came in and set up and did micro wrestling.
In what month did you begin living together?
April.
And he came to live with you. You have 3 children.
That is correct.
According to your complaint, the first loan that you made to him was for dental work.
That is correct.
The second loan that you made to him was for travel expenses to go to another jurisdiction so he could reconnect with a child that he had from another relationship.
That is correct.
And you had never met that child or the child's mother.
That is correct.
And you were curious.
No, I was just trying to help.
Well, let's get to the first loan, because living as long as I have, it gives you certain advantages. Those advantages are that there are certain things that regularly happen when a woman is crazy about a guy and wants to do everything to make it solid. The first loan that you made to him was in what year to have his teeth fixed?
December of 2019.
I want you to tell me your version of this loan for dental work.
Okay, so we had started dating. He had told me that he had went to prison in the past, and that's why his teeth were all rotted out. And that was a lie.
Just a second.
Most of his teeth.
Just a second. You have to have casual conversation, pillow talk. I know the difference between those things. So I want you to tell me exactly when he asked you for a loan to have his teeth fixed.
I don't know the exact date of when he asked me. I mean, it had just been conversations that had been coming up. Every time I'd make dinner, it'd be really hard for him to chew. He only had one tooth. So, I mean, I'd have to coordinate my dinners on what he could eat. So it would come up frequently in a lot of conversations. What are we going to do about your teeth? And he's like, well, I need my teeth done. No, just a second.
What are we going to do about your teeth? Keep going.
Right, and I said, well, we can research some things, but you're going to have to pay for this on your own.
That didn't happen. That last phrase didn't happen. We'll research it and see. That happened.
Mm-hmm.
And who researched it?
He did.
Did you research where to go to have your teeth fixed?
No, actually, she... No, I didn't.
Who found the place to have your teeth fixed?
The plaintiff did.
Who made the appointment?
The plaintiff did.
Did she discuss with you? I mean, she had to take you with her. So I want you to tell me what the discussion was. She said, I'll make the appointment, and she made the appointment?
Yeah, so it was more like a surprise to me.
That's not true.
Just because.
Don't speak.
Just because I didn't, you know.
I don't care what you thought. Did she say to you, I made an appointment for you to have your teeth done?
Yes.
Okay. Where were you working at the time?
Part-time at Cheesecake Factory.
Doing what?
Dishwashing.
And what kind of work does the plaintiff do?
Usually restaurant work, server.
Other than working at a restaurant, Ms. Parra, tell me what other source of income you have. You have 3 children. Does their father send child support?
At the time they were, and yes, I always had 2 jobs. I had sales jobs and
Sales?
restaurant.
The
restaurant was
And
more
you
like
get
5.
child support. And
It was around $1,200.
a month.
Yes.
When you were living with Mr. Jordan, living with him, in December of 2020, what kind of work was he doing?
He was unemployed at first, and then...
Unemployed. No, just in December, he was unemployed.
December...
2020.
I'm not sure. I can't keep track of all his jobs. He had so many.
Okay, so either he was unemployed or had a series of...
He was changing jobs left and right. So he was doing the micro wrestling, then he went to Cheesecake, then he went to another job.
His employment history, let us say, was sketchy.
I wouldn't say sketchy, just...
Well, what you go from job to job, and sometimes you're employed. I would describe that as sketchy.
Sketchy, I guess, yeah. Yeah, trying to figure things out.
You were working 2 jobs to support you and your kids and was getting $1,200 child support. When he was living with you, was he paying any portion of the rent?
He was supposed to be.
No, that's not my question. You met in January. You moved in a few months later. In December of 2020, which is almost a year later, between that period of time, did he pay you any rent?
Not a set amount, no. He just gave me a little bit towards utilities.
The answer is no, he paid no rent.
No, he paid no rent.
Now, did he go with you to the dentist?
Yes. And he
were
made
you,
the appointment.
And were you told how much the dental work would be?
Yes.
How much?
Around $13,376.
Well, certainly, Mr. Jordan didn't have that.
No, so we were going to do some sort of financing, so.
You were living with him for a year. You know all the rules. You know the rules. You know
Didn't know his credit score.
What?
I didn't know his credit score.
You were living with him. You sound like an intelligent woman. You know that when you have a sketchy work history and are unemployed, and you knew that that was accurate, you don't have much of a credit history. So you signed on to allow him to get the dental work with your credit card. That's either a yes or a no.
Yes. In October of 2020.
Between December and October, when you separated, how many payments did Mr. Jordan make on the credit card for his dental work?
0.
How many payments did you make?
I have made every payment since.
Right.
Christina Parra claims former boyfriend Lorenzo Jordan owes for a dental bill. Lorenzo is countersuing for injuries resulting from an assault.
Now, after you went to the dentist, after you knew he had no credit, after you put it on your card, and after he made no payments on that card, in what month did you arrange for this trip to visit his ex-girlfriend and his child?
A couple months maybe after.
A couple of months after he got teeth.
Possibly, yeah.
I know the story. I've been here forever. So after he got new teeth, looked a lot better,
and could eat
according
properly.
to you, you felt badly that he had not connected with his child. You felt badly. Clearly, he didn't feel badly. Now, am I reading these papers right? You reached out to the ex-girlfriend?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Not him. You reached...
He asked me to, yes.
Oh, did he?
Yes, he did. He wanted to see his child.
No. I want you to tell me exactly how that happened.
Yes.
That he asked you to reach out to his ex-girlfriend.
Yeah.
I want to tell you, there's a certain common sense to life. And you're going to have to be really convincing to me, which I'm going to tell you you're not going to be able to do, that he really wanted to see his child, which is what you're going to tell me. And instead of him calling his ex-girlfriend and saying, listen, I know I've been loaded, I'm getting older, I've
sort of turn myself around. I would like to see our daughter, right? He asked you, his current girlfriend with who he's living, to call his ex-girlfriend and say, we would like to come out to visit. It's absolutely ridiculous that if he really wanted to see the child, he would have his current girlfriend make the call, which would just exasperate this woman no end, that now he's living with somebody. Who are you?
I'm the child's mother.
Yeah. Who called you?
She did for
Good.
him.
Sit.
For him.
Sit. And when you called her...
He tried to reach out to her first, and then she wouldn't.
When you called her, what did you say?
I said that Lorenzo's been trying to reach you, and that I know that you two are on bad terms. He has done some horrible things, hasn't paid his child support, still isn't current on his child support. He's trying to make things better. So, you know, I'd like to try to step in between and help reunite a family. I know.
Okay.
I was just trying to be helpful.
So you were helpful, and that's the second loan you are alleging for all the money that was spent going to visit his child in Kansas, for which he really didn't need you, because he could have gone alone. Okay. Give me the story that you claim you had a discussion with him about paying expenses for this trip.
So for this trip, he said that, you know, as long as we use my car, he would help pay the gas, pay the food, and the hotel, and he would pay me back monthly. He would just give me money and pay me back, and that never happened, along with the dental bill, which I have text messages saying he would pay me back everything that he owed me.
Okay. Now I'd like to see the text messages.
Absolutely.
Mr. Jordan? Okay.
I never said anything about a dental bill in this.
Yeah. There is discussion of a dental bill in there, not about anything else, but there is discussion of the dental bill, not the trip to Kansas.
Yeah, and the reason why I said that is because she said in this that, you know, she still would want to be with me if I held up my end of the bargain on paying her back. And I was so concerned about getting back with her that I just said anything to get back with her.
Who cares?
I do.
I don't. You know, it seems to me, Mr. Jordan, first of all, you said it, and it's in writing. Right now, do you still have the teeth that she's paying for?
Yes, I do.
Very nice. And are you living with her?
No, I'm not.
Okay. So you have the pleasure of the teeth, and she has the pleasure of paying the bill for your teeth.
A gift that she gave me.
Just not according to you. I would have said it was a gift, actually. I actually would have said, listen, lady, you want to be among those stupid women who loans a guy money and he doesn't pay her back, and he doesn't, I'm speaking, don't interrupt me, and then a month or two later lends him some more money that he doesn't pay her back, and he doesn't pay her back again for months, and still lives there, and then have a fight about something else and have a bad breakup. Well, you take that on the chin. You have to learn your lesson. Otherwise, you deplete your own bank account, and your kids are going to suffer because you have to pay this dental bill for teeth that you can't enjoy. So I would have dismissed her claim, actually, for the dental bill, because you lived together well after the dental work was completed, and you didn't pay for it. And you didn't pay 1 month, you didn't pay 2 months, you didn't pay 3 months, and then she took you on a vacation. Do you understand? You say, for what reason you're going to give me, that I'm going to pay for the dental work. That's what you say.
I never said that I'm going to.
Oh, no, I didn't say that. You didn't say, I'm going to pay for the dental work.
Never said that.
You said, I'm going to get a check, I'm going to pay you what I owe you. And she's referring, in the preceding paragraph, to dental work.
No, that's an inference. She's not referring to that.
No, just a second. May I see that, please? I want to see if the word dental appears anywhere in there.
In my paragraph.
It doesn't have to be in your paragraph. It has to be in here. That's what the reference is about. Yeah. The only thing you should be doing is paying your dental bill. That's before. That she says. And you answer her, I'm going to hold up my end of the bargain, is what you mean, but you don't speak English here. And she says, Well, I can't trust you. You have the money to pay me right now, and you're knit, which I suppose you mean not. Let me prove this to you. I don't want to use you. I want to pay you what I owe you, and when my check comes in, I'll get in that sober house. That's what you're referring to.
I wasn't referring to a dental bill.
Well, what money?
Just
what money were you referring to?
About rent. About rent. That's what I was talking about. I wasn't talking about a dental bill.
Well, she was talking about a dental bill, and that's what you responded to. So I don't have to even go into this trip, which I would have dismissed because that's your problem. You were curious. So, but the dental bill is well over $13,000. Now you have a counterclaim.
Yes, I do.
And that's an interesting counterclaim. You had a physical fight. You allege in this physical fight that Ms. Parra assaulted you so badly that you had to be in the hospital. I want you to tell me about that.
Yes.
Christina Parra is accusing former boyfriend Lorenzo Jordan of refusing to pay his dental bill and travel costs.
Now, we're now on your counterclaim.
And the reason why she said she was getting child support is because she no longer has her kids because the incident happened in front of her kids.
Just a minute, would you tell me about?
So the night we were talking, we were drinking.
Give me a month, day, and year.
June 30th, 2020. We were arguing.
Just a second. Had you both been drinking?
Yes, we were.
And you were arguing back and forth about what?
We argued so much that I wouldn't even know what it was about.
Okay, do you remember what the argument was about?
Yes, because I have a police report.
I'd like to see it, please.
Absolutely.
And the police report?
Shh. I can read. Okay, this is what I gather from reading the police report. On the 20th of June, the two of you were clearly blotzo drunk and behaving in a loud and boisterous manner, and somebody else called the police. Not the two of you, not either of the two of you.
I called the police because my head was leaking blood.
Nobody else had called the police, not a neighbor?
Probably so, because it was
Probably so, right.
But the reason why they came was because of me.
I don't know if that's the reason that they came because of you. Clearly, you had had some kind of confrontation with neighbors before because this was not a first time that the two of you were blotto and making a lot of noise. That's what I get from the police report. And it's clear from the police report, Ms. Parra, that you were uninjured. You had a slight scratch on your chest, according to the arresting officer, according to the police officer, and a scratch on your hand, neither of which you wanted filmed. You gave me the police report. Mm-hmm. Right.
It says laceration.
And then the officers tried to calm things down, told you to both be quiet. He was taken to the hospital by ambulance, I assume, because his head was bleeding because you had hit him over the head with a speaker.
In self-defense?
Yeah. I don't think it was because the two of you were blotto drunk.
Self-defense. Look at me.
I didn't ask you a question.
Okay.
There's no question before you.
Yes.
Perfect. After he was taken away, you continued to behave in a loud and belligerent way and open up the window from upstairs.
I believe it's two different police reports.
They are two different police reports. Mm-hmm. And according to the police report, someone out of one of those windows upstairs, so either it was you or a neighbor, but someone there threw a lit firework out of the window, and it landed outside and went off, and you were continuing to be loud. So they called social services because they feared for your 3 children who were in the house. How old are your children?
15, 13, and 8.
And they removed the children?
They have, because of
they removed the children?
Yes.
And that was in June of 2020?
No.
What day?
October.
October what?
October 6th.
So are you telling me that they didn't remove the 3 children that night just for their safety?
No.
Oh, not what I'm reading here. Let's say that's true. So they conducted a hearing in family court?
Yes.
And you testified?
Yeah. No, I did not testify against myself. No.
You didn't testify?
Nope. My lawyer advised me not to.
Was there a criminal proceeding pending against you?
There is not. No.
Was there?
No.
Well, then your lawyer can't tell you not to testify against yourself. Lawyer said you don't have a case, maybe, but there was no criminal proceeding pending, so you can't take the Fifth Amendment. You didn't commit a crime, according to you, and you had never been arrested for assault. Is that right? Assaulting him. Okay. So the children are now in the custody of who?
Their father.
And that is as a result of a court order.
Yes.
And he did testify.
Who?
Their father.
No. I don't think you're understanding what kind of court it was. There was no criminal charges.
I'm not talking about criminal. You mean the judge just says, I think
No, they
that
talked to
these
the
should...
children. They
What?
talked to the children, and they took the facts of what you have in your hand there, the police report.
Just a second, are you telling me that the judge didn't appoint a law guardian for the three children?
Yes, he did.
Of course. I was in family court a quarter of a century.
Yes,
The three children were represented by counsel. Either the children, the older ones, testified, or counsel for the children reported to the court that they had interviewed the children and the children wished to remain with their father because their mother is a nut.
Yes.
Do I look like I need any help from you?
Sorry.
It was based on his toxic behavior.
Her codependency.
I'd like to see your hospital report.
This is just my...
Just let me look at it. Maybe you can gather, but I'm not loving either one of you. This is a discharge. Well, this doesn't help me at all. It doesn't tell me what you were there for. Nothing. It says discharge summary, general, no acute distress, awake. Well, sir, you're asking this court to give you $5,000 on something that doesn't tell me anything. You could have been admitted for a gallbladder attack.
No. The police report does...
No. Sir, pay attention. You want $5,000, you go to a little trouble and ask North Shore System to get you a copy of your medical records so I can read them.
Yes.
Well, you didn't. You didn't. This is not evidence. It doesn't tell me anything. You could have been admitted there for a splinter in your finger. Would you return this to him, please? Thank you very much. Mr. Jordan, you're going to pay for your own teeth that you smile with and eat with. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $10,000. Your counterclaim's dismissed. We're finished.
Court adjourned. Court come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, please.
Good morning, Judge. We have case 1033 Martinez Sanchez Mart versus Alvarez.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Your last name is Sanchez?
My fiance.
And you're his fiancé?
Yeah.
Why don't you have a seat for a moment? Because this case is really about you, Mr. Martinez. Your fiancé was a witness to these events and may have been, according to you, traumatized by them, but this really involves the two of you. That be a fair statement?
Correct.
Let me see if I understand. You have in your home a music studio.
Yes.
Is it in the basement or on the main level?
It's in my son's room.
How old is he?
He's 4.
And that's where you do?
That's where I record.
That's where you record. You had a friend.
Correct.
You and your friend were doing music together.
That's correct, Your Honor.
And at some point, you became acquainted because you were acquainted with this friend. And you decided that you and your friend would like to use his son's room that doubles as a recording studio to work with him and record some music.
Correct.
So you started to work together, and then you and your friend had a falling out.
Correct.
Prior to you having a falling out, according to your answer and counterclaim, you purchased a microphone to use in recording. You acknowledged that he purchased a microphone that he brought to your son's room/playroom. After you and your friend decided, after this falling out, and you were aware that there was a falling out, you stopped going to the studio.
That's, Your Honor, if I may, I had been to the studio about 2-3 times. It's just, I work a lot. I work 12-hour shifts.
No, listen to me. Don't give me a lot of editorializing. If anything that I said is wrong, tell me. Don't enhance it. I don't need enhancing right now. I'm trying to set the stage of what this case is about.
Correct.
Okay?
Correct.
So you and your friend split up, and you decided that you weren't going back to the studio anymore, or you decided that you would continue working with his friend. Because I feel peculiar about it, let's call your friend Steve.
Correct.
Now I feel more comfortable. So you continued to work with Steve.
Yes.
At some point, you wanted your microphone back.
That's correct.
And you communicated that fact to Mr. Martinez.
That is correct.
Mr. Martinez said he sort of felt uncomfortable because he's still working with Steve. So he says he gave the microphone to Steve to give back to you.
Yes, Your Honor, that's incorrect.
I'm just telling you what's in here.
Okay.
According to you, Mr. Alvarez, this is your claim, trespassed on your property in order to get his microphone, assaulted you seriously in front of your fiancée, which is why she was standing up next to you, and your 4-year-old son.
Yes.
Traumatizing them.
Yes.
Mr. Alvarez has a cross complaint. He says he did, in fact, come to your house because you stopped returning his calls to retrieve his expensive microphone, and you, in fact, assaulted him, and he's got a counterclaim for that assault. That's what this case is about.
That's correct.
All right?
That is correct.
So we have a claim of assault, and also you want your microphone back. And you have a claim of trespass. Did you get your microphone back, by the way?
I received my mic, but not my other piece of equipment.
I don't care about other piece of equipment. From whom did you get the microphone?
Well, the person that you claim that I'm not friends with anymore, Steve. I'm still
Steve,
friends with Steve.
That's it. You got it back from Steve.
Yes.
Did you get it back from Steve before or after this altercation between the two of you?
After the altercation.
Okay, so after the altercation, how much after the altercation? A day,
It was
two?
a week. It was a week. It was a week.
A week. So now we're just talking about assault. So on what day, sir, do you allege this assault took place?
May 15th, 2021.
What time of the day?
1 p.m.
At your home?
At my home.
Fiance and son were there?
Yes.
I'm listening.
Okay, so they ended, Steve and Brandon ended, the May 15th?
Get to May 15th.
May 15th,
I've
2021.
just laid out the case.
1 p.m.
Just a second. Was it clear to you?
Pretty clear.
Was it clear to you?
Very clear.
Got it? I just want to know because you're my ears to the tens of millions of people who are going to watch us. All I want is what happened. You had the microphone. You gave it to Steve. You shouldn't have given it to Steve. Should have given it directly back to him. It was a mistake. You cut him off.
Yes.
You didn't return his calls. Now he comes to your house May 15th, 1 p.m. Pick it up from there.
May 15th at 1 p.m. Me and my fiance are in the yard. We're hanging out. We noticed Brandon pulling up to the gate right off the bat saying, "Yo, Rebel, what's my mic at?"
Pulled up to what gate? Is there a...
It's a side gate that leads to our home. We live on a side home.
Okay.
So
Pulled up to the gate. Was anybody with him?
He had a driver with him.
Somebody was driving the car?
Yeah,
Okay.
so he immediately lets himself in.
You mean open the gate?
Yeah, he opens the gate, immediately lets himself in, immediately have your stuff. You know, Steve has your stuff. You know, you need to leave because, you know, no one let you in. As I'm walking towards him, I'm telling him, so...
As you're walking towards him?
As I'm walking towards him, he's continuing to refuse to leave.
No. Tell me, as you're walking towards him, what he said to you and what you said to him.
I'm telling him, get out of here. He's saying, no, give me my stuff. At that point, you know...
No, at that point...
I'm trying to shove him out.
Okay, so we're going frame by frame.
Yes.
He's in your yard. He's let himself in. He wants his stuff. You say, get out of here.
Yes.
You start shoving him out.
Yes.
Is that what you said?
Yes.
How did you start shoving him out?
I just put one hand on him, telling him, hey, man, get out of here.
Okay.
You need to leave.
Well, first you picked up 2 hands. Did you pick up 2 hands? That's
No,
what you picked up first.
It was one hand.
One hand, you put your hands on him and say, hey, man, get out of here.
Yes.
And then what happened?
And then he's refusing to leave. He's still refusing to leave.
Just a second. What happened next?
I try to keep shoving him again.
Okay, just a second. So you're shoving him now with 1 hand or 2?
I believe with 2 hands.
Okay, so now you're shoving him back towards the fence.
Towards the fence.
Telling him to leave.
Yes.
What's next?
At that point, he gets very aggressive.
No, just a second. Just tell me what happened. You're shoving him now with 2 hands back towards the fence and probably exchanging words. He wants his stuff, get out of here. Probably lots of bad language. You're shoving him out. What happened next?
He punches me in my face.
Okay, So he punched you, and then what happened?
At that point, I'm stunned. I'm like, what's that for? What was that for? And then he's still saying, you have my mic, give me my mic. So at that point, my wife grabs a brick because she feels in danger.
Just I don't care what she feels. Your wife picks up a brick.
Yes.
And what does she do when she picks up the brick?
She's verbally telling him, get out of here.
She picks up a brick and she's saying to him, get out of here.
Get out of here. She's pointing at him to leave.
Pointing at him, get out of here.
Mm-hmm.
And how far from the gate was he?
When he was backing up?
Yes.
So when he started backing up, when he noticed my wife picked up the brick, he was still at the gate. He was still like in between the gate. So
he's still...
Yeah, he's still at the gate.
Just a second. So when you were pushing him, was he at the gate?
No, he was in my property.
How many feet was he in the yard?
10 feet inside the yard.
10 feet. So he was backing up as you were pushing him, because now you say he's at the gate when your wife picks up the brick. That's what you just said.
Yeah, I pushed him initially so he can leave, but then he got aggressive, punched me.
Well, I want to know where...
In my yard, 10 feet in.
10 feet in.
Yeah.
But at some point, he got to the gate.
Yeah.
Because you said your wife picked up a brick, and at that point, he was just inside the gate.
Yeah.
Not 10 feet in, so he had backed up. And I want to know if he backed up because of your shoving him or if he walked backwards towards the gate.
He's walking back towards the gate.
Is that because of momentum, because you're shoving him, or is he walking himself back? He's going to have a whole different story. But
no, he's...
but I'm paying careful attention to your story.
Yes, he starts backing up because he notices my wife pick up a brick. I'm still telling him, you need to leave, as he's backing up towards the gate. I'm not shoving him anymore at this point. I'm still telling him, still giving him a chance to leave.
Okay, so now he's at the gate, and you and your wife are 10 feet away, because he's already punched you, according to you. He's already punched you, and he's backing up, not because you're shoving him, but because what you said was he saw your wife, which he saw your wife pick up the brick, so he was walking himself because you stopped shoving him. That's what you just told me. See why Whitney is so important?
Yeah.
He said when he noticed my wife picked up the brick, he was still at the gate. He was still in between the gate.
Yes.
So now he's between the gate.
Yes.
Now tell me what happens next. Now he's at the gate.
He's at the gate. I'm still pointing to leave. I'm
Just
still
a second.
giving him a chance.
Just a second. How far were you from him when you were pointing to him?
We're damn near next to each other.
But you were 10 feet away when he started to back up.
No, he was 10 feet. We were 10 feet
10 feet
into my
into yard.
And to my yard.
Just a second. You're 10 feet into your yard.
Yes.
And he starts to back up because he sees your wife pick up a brick because he's punched you. He, according to you, is backed up. So now he's 10 feet in. He moves back the 10 feet because he's in between the gate. So you are following him, telling him to leave.
Yeah.
Is that what you're telling me? And you're 2 feet away.
Yeah, he's still in my yard. He's still in the driveway. And so, yes, we followed him because
moving backwards
but
to get away from your wife and the brick. And he was 10 feet away from you.
Yeah.
So why were you following him?
He was refusing to leave.
He was walking backwards to the gate. He was 10 feet away. That's what you said.
He was only walking backwards when he noticed my wife.
That's just a second. That's exactly correct. Why were you close to him? Why didn't you just stay back there with your fiancé?
Because we were in fear that he was going to come back in.
Oh, that's a picture. So what happened next? So now you're this close to him again because you walked forward as he's walking backward, and
he's saying, "Come at me, bro." He's telling me when we're at the gate. He's telling me, "Come at me, bro. Come at me."
And what's next?
So I start defending myself.
So let me understand this.
Yes.
He's punched you. You've shoved him. One hand once and then shoved him with both hands. He's backing up after your fiance picks up a brick. You follow him to the gate because he's backing up. And he says to you, "Come at me, bro. Come at me, bro." So then you punched him.
No, I didn't punch him at all.
Well, you said, "I'm defending myself." What does that mean?
It just means that I have my hands up ready for him to, if he strikes at me, I'm ready to defend myself.
Well, no, you didn't use the words, "I'm ready to defend myself." You said, "I defended myself."
Yeah, I defended myself.
That's what you said. So, is that what he said? Yeah. So, My question to you is, it's not easy. What do you mean you defended yourself? There's no question he was injured. There's no question you were injured. So I want to know what you mean when you say, I defended myself. I'm going to give him the same grilling, not to worry. Well, why don't you...
Sanchez Mar claimed Brandon Alvarez assaulted Danny after he trespassed on their property. Brandon is countersuing for sound equipment and claims he was the one assaulted.
You're at the gate. We're going at this frame by frame.
Yeah. He says, come at me.
Come at me.
Yeah.
And you do.
Yeah.
Because you're walking towards him.
Yeah.
And what happens when you get to him? Is not an answer.
I noticed my wife right next to me with the brick. So she's still with me in the driveway. We're leading towards the sidewalk because he's just backing up.
Just a second. He's backing up. Now he's on the sidewalk.
He's leading towards the sidewalk.
Well, you're in the driveway.
Yes.
He's in the driveway.
He's still in the driveway.
The driveway is beyond the gate, or it's still inside the gate?
It's beyond the gate.
So he backed out beyond the gate?
Yes.
So now he's beyond the gate that he opened to come into your yard? Mm-hmm. Is not an answer.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. And you and fiance with the brick are following him, and he's now in the driveway?
Yes.
And you're in the driveway?
Yes.
Well, why don't you just go back in and close the gate?
Because he's refusing to leave.
Just a second. He was leaving.
No, leaving is when you have your back turned and you're walking towards your car.
When I turned my back towards somebody with a brick?
No, Your Honor. No, Your Honor.
Let me hear about the fight. So far, you shoved him, he punched you, and she picked up a dangerous instrument. So that's so far.
Yes.
Okay. What happened next?
So we lead towards the end of the driveway. I put my hands on my wife, letting her know that it's okay.
Fiance.
My fiance. I put my hands on her at this point. But instead, he strikes me again at my face. And at this point, I'm like, okay, this guy, he's not leaving. So I grab the brick from my wife and I toss it at him. I miss. At this point, he tackles me towards my car and I'm trying to hold him down. We ended up on the ground and he, somehow overpowers me and slams my face to the cement. And when we're getting up, he knees me in my collarbone.
Your version.
Your Honor, I don't have no reason to lie.
Just a second.
I'm content.
Everybody has a reason to lie. Whether you lie or not is something that I, unfortunately, are going to have to determine. May 15th, 2021, 1 o'clock. Who was driving?
My cousin was driving.
Had you tried to call Mr. Martinez before?
I don't have his number. I can't get a hold of him that way. My only form of communication with him was through Instagram, and he blocked me and he read my message.
Okay, on what date did he block you?
May 5th, the same day that I messaged him.
Do you have that message?
That's correct, I do.
I'd like to see it. Okay, I'm looking for this date. That's Wednesday?
May 5th, 2021.
May 5th? Okay, and this happened 10 days later.
Correct.
And you said, what's up, G? I'll stop by your house tomorrow around 2 to pick up my mic, so you know.
Correct.
Did you get a response from him?
No response at all.
And you didn't go over the next day?
No, I passed by and his car wasn't there. That's how I know that he wasn't home. So I didn't bother to get off or anything.
Okay. And did you at some point block him from communicating with you?
At some point I did.
Just a second. At what point? On what day?
May 8th.
And tell me why you blocked him on May 8th.
I was texting and calling Steve. Steve had let me know that he was gonna reach out to him. I had let Steve know, keep this out, keep me out of this.
Well, you hadn't had a fight with him.
No.
So why wouldn't you just give him back his mic? What were you dealing with Steve for?
I was dealing with Steve because I asked him for some advice. Steve was already letting me know that.
But this is what I don't understand.
Yeah.
Clearly, Steve knew that it was his mic.
Yes.
Because he gave it back to him at some point. So he knew that it was his mic. You knew that it was his mic.
Yes.
So why did you, and you hadn't had an argument with him, Mr. Martinez. So I'm not figuring out why you ask Steve for advice instead of just on May 5th. Say, you know what, we're not going to be home on May 5th in the backyard. There's a piece missing here for me.
Yeah, it's because Steve was telling me to ignore him. He was telling me...
Oh, well, but just a second. Steve was telling you to ignore him.
Yes.
I'm just curious.
Yes.
as to why you would listen to that.
Because I trusted Steve. I trusted him, and that's where I made
Just
my mistake.
Well, then it's your mistake.
Yeah.
Because I'm not hearing anything that would suggest that what he was asking for was unreasonable.
Yeah.
He left a piece of valuable equipment at your
Yeah.
house. You knew it belonged to him. He said, I'll come by and pick it up. Nothing bad about it. You don't respond to him. You block him from your Instagram. I mean, the smart thing to do, Mr. Alvarez, is to take him to court. You know, that's the smart thing to do. To go over to his house is not smart thing to do because, you know, he's acted like a dummy by blocking you from Instagram.
Your Honor, I didn't think there was any, I mean, there was, like I said, me and him, I've met his wife before, I met his children. I mean, there was never any
bad.
There's never any bad. I didn't think anything of it. I was just trying to pick up my equipment. It was my equipment. He knew it was my equipment. He even suggested for me to buy that equipment.
Just a second. I get it. So now I want you to tell me what happened, because I'm not understanding his whole business here. By the way, a brick is a dangerous instrument. And if you followed him out into a public street with a dangerous instrument, that's a no-no. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
It's not a dangerous instrument if you build a building with it, but if you threaten somebody or if you throw it at them, it's a dangerous instrument. Do you understand?
Yes.
Now I want you to tell me your version of what. So you went there. He had blocked you from Instagram so that you know that for some ungodly reason, he's blocked you, he's cut you off, you never had any problem with him before, so you go to his house with a driver.
Correct.
1 o'clock in the afternoon, unannounced.
That's correct, Your Honor.
And you go into the backyard.
Well, no, first I'm walking, right? Like he said, I'm walking to the side gate. And his parents live separately. They live on one side of the house, and he lives on the other side of the house, right? You have to get in through the gate to knock, but as I'm walking, I smell weed because they were both smoking outside. And his son wasn't outside like he says, so it's just a little strange to me.
Okay, so you smelled marijuana?
Yes, I smell marijuana.
From the back?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, from his front of the yard. It's his front of the yard.
Okay, keep going.
Like I said, I'm walking to the front gate. I told him, hey, what's up? Where's my mic at? You blocked me on Instagram. What's that all about? And I'm stepping inside. I'm not 10 feet inside.
Just don't.
Okay.
You're stepping inside the gate.
I'm stepping inside, and as soon as I step into his gate, still open, he approached me with one hand and he grabbed my neck. He doesn't shove me, he grabbed my neck. And I have, if I may, I have evidence here where it shows that he clearly grabbed my neck, not shoving me. I mean, you're not gonna have any marks from shoving.
Can I see what he's got?
Timestamp on there as well.
Who took this photograph?
I did myself.
Go ahead.
As I said, he grabbed my neck, and so, like anyone would, I reacted and I punched him so he would let go of me. I was not 10 feet inside. My back was towards the gate, and as I reacted and I punched him.
What was being said?
He was telling me, get here. Oh, excuse my language. He said, get here. I don't have your equipment, and I was just telling him, you have my equipment. I haven't gotten my equipment back. And at this point, him and his wife both pick up a brick. Not just his wife, he picks it up as well. And that's why he said I was walking with my back toward the street. I didn't want to turn around. I was in fear that I was going to get hit with a brick by both of them. And so as I'm walking out the gate, I close the gate, and he still opens the gate and he follows me. And this is when he approaches me and he tries to hit me with a brick. He swings on me with a brick, and I reacted and I hit him again. This time he falls to the floor, picks up the brick again, and I'm still walking like he says. I'm already towards the sidewalk. I'm trying to leave, but he throws it at me, and he comes and he tackles me to the floor. And that's how you see in the pictures I have the abrasions and the marks from my side. And like he said, he was trying to hold me down on the floor, and I picked him up and I threw him off of me. I didn't knee him. I'm still trying to get away from him because
Did the person who was in the car get out of the car?
No, they never got out at any point.
You have a lot of paperwork.
Yeah, you're on the video?
I'd like to see it.
Okay. I have multiple angles. So this is the angle where he...
Just a second. I couldn't see it.
Okay.
Could we see the video, please? Steve was supposed...
And his fiancée, Alexandra Sanchez Mar, are accusing Brandon Alvarez of trespassing and assault.
Okay. Could we see the video, please?
That's you right there.
Well, I see you both picked up bricks.
No, I don't have a brick.
Yeah.
I just dropped my phone on the ground. I'm pointing at him right now.
The brick. He had the brick in his right hand.
Right here, you'll see I don't have a brick. He's saying, come at me. He strikes at me here. This is when I got fed up.
Why are you? What? I don't understand, sir. Why you followed him out into the street?
Because he's saying, come at me. He's saying that he's saying he's not going to leave.
He's leaving.
No, he's not. So when you on the side of the gate, you can clearly see me telling him to leave. I'm still pointing to leave. He swipes my hand down. He's knocking my hand down, saying no. I would not come at somebody who's already going to leave. I'm only going to come at somebody that trespassed.
Don't tell me what you're going to do.
Yeah. Okay.
And if you tell me that you think that you acted appropriately, you may have taken bad advice from Steve, and that may have been your problem. And maybe smoking a little weed and taking bad advice from Steve all got it together. But this wasn't a little shove that you gave him. And he wasn't somebody who had done anything to you, except that you took some bad advice from Steve.
Your Honor, he trespassed. He was told to leave multiple times by my wife as well.
You don't have a wife. All you had to do was give him back his equipment.
No,
you don't. I'm not excusing coming to your house unannounced. What I'm saying is that you were high, you were taking bad advice, you took his property and gave it to a third person. He came to get his property, which he probably shouldn't have done unannounced because he knew that there would be trouble. But you don't see any complicity on your part.
Yes, I understand that I messed up on
a lot of things.
On
a lot of things. On a lot of things. You put your hands.
I have proof here that
I'd like to see
that
whatever.
Was going to reach out to him.
That who?
Steve.
Let me explain something to you. The fact that Steve was going to reach out to him is not relevant to this case. He wouldn't have come to your house if Steve had reached out to him before the 15th of May.
Correct.
He wouldn't have. That's your fault. He reached out to you on May 5th.
From May 5th to May 15th, in my head, I thought Steve already reached out.
I don't care what's going on in your head, sir. Clearly, when he came to your house, at that point, you knew that he hadn't gotten his stuff back. And instead of saying to him, listen, I don't have it. I gave it to Steve. I'm sorry. I gave it to Steve. You shoved him out of your yard. He doesn't think that there's anything wrong in being in your yard, sir. It's not as if you had had bad words with him before. The only word you had with him was on the 5th of May when he said, I'm coming to pick up my mic, and you weren't home. And then you blocked him from Instagram. You had not had a bad word with him. He was in your house, as far as I can tell, with Steve, playing music, with a mic that he brought to your house and some of your equipment. And whether Steve was supposed to reach out to him, if that's the proof that you have,
yes.
Well, that's not relevant to this case, that Steve was supposed to reach out to him. That's not relevant.
So if he reached out to me
I don't answer questions. I'm telling you,
Yeah.
it's irrelevant. Unless you have some evidence.
Yes, I have evidence that I wanted to.
Listen.
Yeah.
Unless you have evidence that prior to May 15th, that Steve returned his mic to him.
I have.
No. Unless you have evidence that Steve returned his mic to him.
I have evidence that Steve picked up the microphone.
From your house?
From my house.
I know that. I said that 20 minutes ago. He and Steve had a falling out. You remained friendly with Steve. You knew that he had a microphone that he brought to your house. He messaged you for the microphone on May 5th. Instead of responding to him like a person, you call Steve for advice, this genius. You call him for advice. He says, just ignore him. And you, Mr. Brilliant, decided to just ignore him and block him from Instagram. That's what happened. Am I reading this right?
Yeah.
Am I reading it right?
Yeah.
Your case is dismissed. Now, let's get to your counterclaim. There was an altercation here. It was a nasty fight. One person got more injured than the other, perhaps. You didn't spend any time in a hospital, did you, sir?
I had spent time in my house, sick time.
I don't care if you spent time in your house. My question was a simple one. Did you spend any time in a hospital?
No.
Did you, Mr. Alvarez?
Yes, I did, Your Honor.
When?
If I may have evidence for here.
I'd like to see it. Okay, so you said you had a visit with the doctor over the internet, right?
Correct, over the phone.
Over the phone. And you said you had a backache because of a confrontation that you had, and it hurt, and he told you to take pain pills of muscle pain. That was it?
That was it.
Right. Well, you shouldn't have gone to his house. You had a fight. You both behaved badly. You're lucky it wasn't worse.
Of course.
Of course. I had a fight because of your stupidity, not his. Yours. Yours.
How can you blame me
Just
for
a
his
second. I
action?
don't answer questions. I'm making a statement.
Yeah.
You took advice from Steve that turned out to be wrong. As I said before, your case is dismissed. So's your counterclaim. You got your mic back?
I got my mic. I'm missing another piece that she still has.
Okay. You got your mic back?
Correct.
Okay. We're done here. Thank you.
Court is adjourned.
Invasion of privacy.
Court come to order. All rise.
Be seated, please.
Hello, Judge. Case 1058, Kirkpatrick versus Kirkpatrick.
Thank you, Kevin.
You're welcome.
Mr. Kirkpatrick, you and your wife, ex-wife, were married for a short period of time, and you have one child together.
Correct, Your Honor.
The marriage was short-lived, and based upon what I read, for a period of time, your son is now 10?
Yes, Your Honor.
For a period of time after you divorced, and you were divorced or separated after about a year of marriage?
Correct.
You shared custody of him.
Correct, Your Honor.
But then at some point, a couple of years ago, that changed, and you have now full custody of him. He stays with you all the time, with the exception of periods of time when he visits with his mother.
Correct, Your Honor.
Is that okay? You say no. He's 10 years old. Does he go to public school? You don't shake your head.
Yes, Your Honor.
And what grade is he in?
He's in 5th grade.
From whose house does he go to school every day?
His house in DeLand.
His house?
Yes.
All right. And what does he do for the summer? No, what does he do for the summer?
Well, I had put him in summer programs until COVID happened, and we didn't do that. But that's what I had him going to.
And where does he sleep during the summer?
And at my house in his room.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Well, then he has custody of him. He has physical custody of him. No. Well, he does.
I'm sorry.
Well, but he does. If he goes to school from his house every day, and if he sleeps at his house during the summer, then he may not have full legal custody of him. That may not have been decided by a court, but he has physical custody of him.
May I?
What?
There is a court hearing coming up September 21st of next month where I have filed with the Volusia County because he has been withholding Titan from me.
Listen, I don't want to hear.
We have 50-50.
He has been living with his father. Did he go to school from his father's house in the 4th grade? That's either a yes or a no. That's either a yes or a no. Did he go to his father's house in the 4th grade?
Yes, but
that was 2020. I don't know if school is open now where you live. Is it?
It is now.
When did it open?
This was the first week of school, actually.
Okay. So he's going to school from your house this year, 2021.
Yes, Your Honor.
In 2019 was when you say he came to live with you full time. In what month?
July, Your Honor.
In September of 2019, did he go to school from your house?
Yes, Your Honor.
October, November.
Yes, Your Honor.
You may have a hearing coming up, Ms. Kirkpatrick, but for the last 2 years, his father has had physical custody of him for the majority of the time. So you can shake your head all you like. That's it. And I don't have to get into the reasons for it, but his father has had physical custody of him. This is what this case is about. On Mother's Day this past year, according to the complaint, you brought your son over to visit with his mother.
Yes, Your Honor.
By the way, are you employed, sir?
I am, Your Honor, yes.
And aside from your son, who do you live with?
Just myself.
Does someone take care of him when you're not after school while you're working?
Either he'll come with me and be at the office, or I have it so that he's home. He's almost 11, and that's why I have him have a phone so that if he needs it. But
what kind of work do you do?
I'm a marketing consultant. I do advertising for a local newspaper.
And Ms. Kirkpatrick, what do you do for a living?
I'm a homemaker, and I also do outdoor tree work with my boyfriend as self-employed.
You're a homemaker. Do you have other children?
No, Titan is my only.
You mean you stay home?
I was a stay-at-home mom until he took that away from me.
Okay, we're talking about 2.5 years ago. I'm asking you what you do now.
Yes, I'm a homemaker.
Okay. You don't have a child.
Self-employed.
Oh, you're self-employed. And where do you live?
In De Leon Springs, Florida.
Where? House?
Yes, it's a house.
Who do you live with?
My grandmother.
It's her house?
Yes, it's her house.
How long have you been living there?
Since 2017, end of 2017.
Your Honor, may I interject just quickly?
What?
It's not actually her grandmother's house. She rents, and she doesn't live in the house. Barry lives in the detached garage of the house.
Her grandmother rents the house?
Yes, Your Honor. It's not her house.
Do you live inside the house or in the garage?
It's an apartment. It's not an actual garage. Yes, I live in the detached unit.
Describe it to me.
It's fully remodeled, renovated. Looks like a nice apartment inside.
Has a bathroom, shower?
No, I have no running water yet. But if I shower, it's inside.
You go into your grandmother's house.
Right.
So that it has no running water.
Correct.
Claims his ex-wife, Barry Kirkpatrick, invaded his privacy and disabled his phone.
Do you live inside the house or in the garage?
It's an apartment. It's not an actual garage. Yes, I live in the detached unit.
Describe it to me.
It's fully remodeled, renovated. Looks like no, I have no running water yet. But if I shower, it's inside.
You go into your grandmother's house.
Right.
So that it has no running water.
Correct.
And you live there with your boyfriend?
He lives with, yeah.
That's him.
Yes, that.
On Mother's Day weekend, you dropped your son off to visit with his mother.
Yes.
For the whole weekend, Saturday and Sunday, or just Sunday?
He was actually there for a week because she wanted him to stay longer.
While he was there, you had given him a phone.
Yes, Your Honor.
To have. And according to you, the phone was returned with your son, but in a disabled condition, so that you could no longer use it because his mother had put a tracker on the phone.
Yes, Your Honor. She had put a parenting application on it, like a parental lock, that only she could allow things to happen. She had set up a passcode with a Gmail account that only she knew. In addition to that, she also did put a tracking app on it so that she could monitor it as long as it's on in real time.
Did you do that?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Did you buy the phone?
No.
You want to explain to me why you modified the phone?
Yes. I had no knowledge that Titan had a phone.
Okay.
So when my son came to visit on Mother's Day weekend, while he was with my grandmother, I heard a jingle go off, and the jingle was coming from his book bag. So I pulled out the phone, and it was a bedtime alarm that had went off, and so I just turned it off. And when I turned it off, I was surprised that Titan had a phone because I was told that he didn't, because I have been wanting to buy him a phone with a working number.
Whatever.
And
let's move on. You found a phone, so you knew his father had had it, and that you hadn't purchased it. And so what did you do?
Well, I went through the phone.
Why?
I'm his mother, and
First of all, you had no knowledge whether it was his phone or his father's phone.
I had Dragon Ball Z wallpaper on it with Titan's name all over it.
That's okay. I have a picture of my deceased dog on my phone as my wallpaper. So you went through the phone?
Yes.
Did you need a passcode in order to go through the phone?
No. There was no lock on it.
Okay. So you went through the phone, and?
I found that I was not listed as a contact in the phone. He and his girlfriend only were contacts in the phone, and messaging was only taking place through him and his girlfriend. And I also checked the browser history of the phone as well. And I have some things that I would like to share with you.
Absolutely.
Which is why I put it's called Family Link. It's a parental lock for the safety of your child.
How did you, Mrs. Kirkpatrick, how did you communicate with your former husband about him dropping off your son and picking him up? Was that by phone or text?
Mostly by text.
Okay. And so you have a phone?
I have one, yes.
And he has one?
Yes.
Well, is there any reason why you didn't contact your former husband, since he had acquiesced to bringing your son to you for the weekend on Mother's Day? Is there any reason why you didn't contact him and said, I found this phone that I assume you bought for Titan? Titan?
Titan, Your Honor.
I'm not listed as a contact. Right. You know, is there any reason why you didn't do that?
Well, no, the reason he never said.
No, what's the reason you didn't call him?
Oh,
Text him and say, I found a phone. I didn't know that Titan had a phone. I want to be listed as a contact. She wants to show me something that she's going to say explains why she took control of this phone. So I'd like to take a look at it.
Your Honor, may I add something quickly?
No. First, I want to look at this, and then I'll ask you questions.
Sorry.
Don't give me a whole bunch of stuff that's meaningless. I don't want to read stuff that's meaningless. What is this picture of?
That is a picture from Titan that he took a picture of himself, sending to his dad, stating that he still wasn't feeling well, that he wants to go to the doctor.
I see that. I see that. I still think that, Jack, can I delete Prime Video for space? If I don't, I won't be able to play any more games because they're around. I can't play games. What is, I don't know what this is. It's nothing. Titan, bedtime in 10 minutes. I'll be home soon. Sleep in your bed tonight. Well, so far, the only thing that would be troublesome to me for a kid, these things. Okay, so is it your son who's doing all this cursing, sir?
Unfortunately, it's a little side effect he picked up from public school.
Yeah, you know. He seems to be, well, first I'm going to show this to you. This is what his mother said she found.
Yeah, that's something that I should have been probably told about.
Hmm?
I didn't know. I had no idea that was on there.
Okay, and you have a girlfriend whose name is Holly?
Correct.
Okay, and I assume that there's a little bit of sometimes tension with Titan and Holly?
No, not at all.
Okay. There was some suggestion there about sleeping in the same bed with her.
My son?
Yeah, there's something about the bed isn't big enough for three.
Oh, because he still likes to crawl in sometimes into my bed, even though he has his own room and bed and everything. And I was like, Titan, you need to go sleep in your room. And I was trying to play around with him.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So those things came off the phone.
Mm-hmm. That's disturbing.
Hmm?
That is disturbing, Your Honor.
Yeah, it's disturbing. It would be disturbing to me as a parent.
Accusing his ex-wife, Barry Kirkpatrick, of modifying his phone without permission. Barry claims her actions were to protect their young son from adult content.
Okay. So those things came off the phone.
Mm-hmm. That's disturbing.
Hmm?
That is disturbing, Your Honor.
Yeah, it's disturbing. It would be disturbing to me as a parent. Yeah. And the reaction should be, as a parent, to call the other parent and say, this is what's going on with the phone. You may not know about it because I don't know quite how to say this to you without sounding harsh. He works and takes care of a 10-year-old full-time. You do nothing. Being a homemaker without children and without a husband, it means you take care of yourself. That taking care of a 10-year-old, trying to have a social life and trying to work full-time, I assume that you're not paying any child support, Ms. Kirkpatrick. I assume that that's true.
It's true, Your Honor.
Then what you do is you pick up the phone and call the person who's been in charge of your son for 2.5 years and say, listen, this 10-year-old is cursing. This 10-year-old is cursing. It's on the phone. You've addressed it, but clearly not enough. And I found these videos, these smutty videos that he's involved with. Do you need a tissue?
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm okay.
That's what you do. That's what you do as a parent. And you do have to have a certain amount of recognition of what the realities of a situation are. The realities of the situation is he is a single parent raising a 10-year-old full-time himself. And he wasn't swift enough and engaged enough to see that his son was starting to fool around on the internet in places where he shouldn't be. Your response isn't to destroy the phone. Your response should be, I'm taking the phone away, I'm going to give it to you and show you what I've done, not to disable the phone and put on a tracking system. Do you understand, Miss Kirkpatrick? Do you understand?
Yes, I do.
Okay. That's my view. And I don't know what's going to happen when you have your hearing next month. But at this point, and at least for the past several years, his father, it appeared to me, at least by the fact that he brought him to you when you wanted to see him over Mother's Day weekend, and you wanted to keep him for a week, and you did, that could have had perhaps some selfish intentions too. You wanted a little time off. It's very difficult as a single parent to have a life in addition to raising a child. I do understand that. But you can't disable something that you didn't purchase. How much was the phone?
The phone was, I have receipts here, Your Honor. It came to $117.84.
Can I see it, please?
I have the other receipt on there too because I gave my son my phone and I had to get another phone so that he would have a phone.
I just want to know how much the phone was.
It's the first receipt, ma'am. I'm sorry.
Okay. And this was purchased in January?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. That's it. You're entitled to that. I don't know what else you're suing for here. It looks $1,000, invasion of privacy, property. She shouldn't have done it, but at least she brought something to your attention so that if you did, in fact, buy him or get him another phone, it's something that you should have in the back of your head, that he's swift enough to get on the internet, even at age 10 or 11, and find places that can cause nothing but trouble. And apparently, based upon what I read, you're not home when you're working. He spends a lot of time by himself.
A few hours a day.
A few hours. Well, in a few hours, a lot of trouble can happen. Right. So be much more cautious. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of the phone, $174. Thank you.
Court is adjourned.
I'm very disappointed.
Well, I'm glad that I got something back.
There's a lot.
So I'm asking your opinion. The defendant was very upset. I mean, it was apparent to me that he was parenting this child, and she probably feels badly about it. I don't know what kind of situation she hopes to present to the court next month when she has a hearing. But if she's living in a garage with no running water or no plumbing with her boyfriend, that is certainly not a reasonable situation. She is unemployed and he's employed full-time. He probably would prefer being in a place with fewer rules. His father has some rules, but his father wasn't vigilant enough with the phone. I think there's such a good lesson there to be learned. Even for a kid that's 10, you know, they've grown up on the internet. Like you, you have 2 younger siblings. Did you grow up with a phone when you were 2 or 3?
No, I had a flip phone at age 14, 15, maybe.
Maybe, but grow up on the internet. I mean,
no, we had the one computer in the computer room in the house that the parents also used, so you never dabbled in anything non-kosher, you could say, on the family computer. Right. And the phone didn't have internet back then. But I know now my younger siblings can be on their phones in their rooms for hours. No one knows, talking to the friends.
Even the little ones. I mean, I see them negotiating their little iPads when they're 2. So these kids, by the time they're 10, they're pretty sophisticated. It's just a really good example of you have to be vigilant about what your kids are doing behind their closed door in their room on the computer. It could be dangerous.
Yeah.